Let me show you a concrete result example. We'll write a function that passes a string into a number. So let's do that. First, we're going to import pass int error, which will help us with our error handling. Let's remove this. Okay, so fn pass age. So we're going to be taking a slight string and we return the result. That'll be the result or the error message. So if we have a correct result, then the type that's going to be returned will be U32. So here it actually has to be this. So we're returning U32 if we have a valid value. If not, then we have an error, pass int error. Now we're just going to take our slice string equal s. We're going to trim it, pass U32. This might not make sense now, but just bear with me, and then OK, and we have something conflicting over here, so let's remove this. Now let's go over the code. So the function is called passAge. It takes in a string slice s and it returns result, which could either be a U32 or a pass int error. That return type is telling us on success you get U32, on failure you get a pass int error, a type from the standard library that describes exactly what went wrong during parsing. So inside the function we call s trim pass. You have a create U32. So that pass method returns a result by itself, and then there is a question mark at the end. That question mark is one of the most important and elegant piece of Rust syntax. Let me explain exactly what it does. When you put an exclamation mark after an expression that returns a result, Rust does one of two things. If the result is okay, it unwraps it and gives you the value inside. In this case, the U32. If the result is an error, it immediately returns that error from the current function, propagating the error up to the caller. So this single line that you see here is equivalent to this. So this line over here can also be written like this. You can see why this version is so much cleaner, and it gets dramatically better when you have multiple operations that can fail. Let me show you a real comparison. So I'm gonna get some code from GitHub. Let's remove this. Have a function read file. Let me actually copy it to save time. This is here we are reading a file. We are reading a file and converting its content into uppercase, and you can see here we're not using this exclamation mark at the end, but we can do that. We can make it even much more better. Let's create a function. We'll call it readFile2, fn readFile2, and this will do exactly what the top one is doing. So we're going to be getting the same thing, the parameter. So let me just do that. And here now we're going to be using the exclamation mark, but it's going to have the exact same behavior. So let content equal path, and then we put the exclamation mark, and we return OK when it's the correct value. Content dot to uppercase. These two functions do the exact same thing, same behavior, half the code. And if you had 5 operations that could fail without the question mark operator, you'd have 5 nested match expression. With this question mark operator, each one is a single line ending in a question mark, and the function reads top to bottom like a story. There's one rule to remember. The question mark operator only works inside functions that return result or option. You can't use it in main by default, but you can change main's signature to make it work. So let's see an example on how you can work it on main. So we have function main result you have box here. So that this line here that you see here, box and up until error, is a box trait object that can hold any type of error. Think of it as any error. I don't care which specific kind. It's a practical shortcut for main functions and quick script. In library code, you'd be more specific. Now let's look at how you consume a result that comes back to you. The most explicit way is match. Now let's remove this. So here we're using match, and we're going to be using this function parseAge. Match parseAge 25. So this is a slice string type. You have a valid input, to be a valid input will be returned print parse age and the age itself. And if the error is returned, if there's an error, this print failed to pass. So that handles both cases explicitly, but result also has a bunch of convenient methods just like option does. But before we get into that, let's run this code. Let's save this. I forgot to save. And voila, as expected, we have this printed out. Now let's see more example. So I'm just going to copy the code. So here we have age. We created a variable called age, choosing the same function parseAge, and here we're putting something that is not a number. We're putting a test. We call it, that test is just simply written, not a number, and unwrap or it unwraps to 0, it falls back to 0. And down here we unwrap or else compute a fallback with a closure, and here we map transform the OK value if it succeed, and we pass error through unchanged, and then here we have chain another operation that itself returns a result.